welcome back. I know we spoke earlier, but I mean, now you're here in Arizona. I mean, now you're seeing all the people, all the faces, you're around everything. Is the field changing at all now that it's actually fight week?
It's real. You know, I just saw Donald out there, the cowboy. You know, it's just I'm glad to be back. You know, it's a weird feeling, like when you're being the fighter versus when you're here to like coach and help out everyone else. Like the nerves, like it's different. I don't know if it's necessarily more intense, but it's just different. You know, like it's maybe a little less intense. I think when it's my fight, I have some influence on what's going to happen. When it's a coach, it's kind of like, oh, I hope he does this, hope he does that, or whatever. It's different.
I know you said you thought about, you know, fighting the whole time, you know, because it's what you love to do. But did you think about, like, oh, signing posters? That's not fun. Like, oh, media day. That's not fun. Like, did you think about all the other stuff?
So this is easy. Media day is no problem, right? Signing the poster is definitely a pain in the ass, right? It's probably like my least favorite part of fight week. Like, you know, they say it's always the same number. I don't believe them. I would like to sit there and count every single time. Like, oh, it's 140. It's always been 140. I remember when you used to tell me it was always 110 or it was always 70. It's like, oh, it's always been 70. Yeah, okay. I don't believe it.
Well, you've just been around longer than most of them.
Yeah, right. Yeah, true. Yeah. I predate most of the people around here. I don't know like how I am in the seniority list, but there's not many staff members here. I think maybe Sean Shelby and Donna might be the only ones that have been around longer than me. I don't know.
So you crossed paths with Cowboy out there. Was there any conversation at all? I mean, are there mind games? I mean, you guys have been around forever.
I mean, we both been doing it so long. I don't think it's going to change anything. He's like, oh, is your family coming on? I asked him, but it's all good. Like, we're friendly, but I promise we will try to murder each other on Saturday, right? It's like, that's what we do. Like, I have like guys that are like, you know, help me train for this fight that like we're sparring. We're doing hard sparring. I tortured some of my sparring partners. You know what I mean? Hitting them with elbows, hitting them with knees, you know, just like trying to knock them out. Like, that's what I do to my friends, help me get ready. And there's no money in the line. Right now, it's okay. Now that we're competing for real, this is the real deal. We will try to murder each other.
Nice. Last thing for me, I know you said you're kind of leaving the future up in the air, but I guess, you know, you win here, you keep going. What's the priority for you? Is it to keep fighting in front of crowds? Is it to make sure you fight in the Northeast again? Is it to make sure you fight guys from your generation? I mean, assuming you keep going, what would be the priorities?
I mean, I have to like all three. I have to like the opponent. I have to like the date. I have to like the location. Right there, I heard that they may be coming to Boston in the fall. You know, if that was the case, like that might be a good time to do a Jim Miller 3. I have no idea. You know, like, but I have to like all three. If I like all three, I'm down. Like my big thing was like, you know, after the last fight, I kept telling Sean Shelby, send me names. Send me names. I might tell you no, but keep sending me names. Keep offering me fights, and I will take one when I like it. You know, I don't feel like I have to fight. We opened up a gym in Rainham, Massachusetts. We moved my gym during the pandemic, which is a little sketchy, a little scary. But we've done like a way bigger, better spot. Like the gym's taken off. I'm totally happy running the gym and focusing on the gym every single day. But we took a little 2-month vacation on that. Like I was, did a little less planning gym stuff and more just like running my classes and doing my workouts and getting out of there. But I'm perfectly happy doing that. So if this is the last fight, then that's cool. If it's not the last fight, then that's good too. Just keep sending me names. Keep sending me names.
I mean, Joe, it's been 31 months. You were talking about the process in between, but was there ever any point for you during those 31 months where you're like, maybe like I can kind of quit on that last one?
I was definitely, when all the COVID stuff, the pandemic stuff was going on, like I had no interest in trying to fight during that. You're seeing all the time, like, fights getting canceled, fights getting scrapped, and maybe it's not even our problem. Maybe it's like it's someone else's camp has a problem or something. You know what I mean? Like it's just, there was a lot of that going on. So for most of the last 2 years, I did not care about fighting at all. I had zero, but maybe like a year ago, I started like kind of, getting an itch for it a little bit. I was definitely wondering, how long is this COVID thing going to go on for? Is this going to be like the next 5 years of fights getting canceled, things like that? And luckily it's gotten a lot better. So we're in a much better space. But I definitely was like for a little bit, and I'm like, did I mess up by not just, going out like that? But if I did, then this fight wouldn't have happened. I expect this fight to be a good fight for me. Otherwise we wouldn't have taken the fight. But like, I think it's hard to go and second guess it after the fact.
So about how long was it that you were feeling like, I think I'm ready to jump in here?
I want to say last maybe April or May, around this time last year. I had heard that the UFC was maybe coming to Boston in the fall. I didn't know it was going to happen. So I texted her telling me, hey, if you're coming to Boston, I better be on that list. Let me know, send me names, whatever. I wasn't pressing to fight anywhere, but if they're coming to Boston in the fall, I definitely want to be on the card.
So then a year of names, I would imagine you finally get Donald Cerrone as one of the names, and you're like, okay, this is it. Like this.
I think Donald was the first name I actually got. Like I kept telling, hey, look, if you're coming to Boston in August, I want to be in. He's like, we're not coming to Boston. I'm like, if you're coming to Boston in August, just in case, I'm just telling you, if you're coming, I want to be on the list. And I got no names until Cowboy, and I think like it was like February, like first week in February, he asked me if I wanted to fight Cowboy. Like I think it was March 8th, and I'm like, I have to like the date, the location, the name. I like the name. It was somewhere domestic, so I liked the location. I didn't like the date. It was 4 weeks' notice. I'm like, if I'm going to do it again, we're not going to do it in such short notice. I want a full camp. He's like, well, Cowboy wants to fight on that card. I'm like, well, that's fine, but I'm not your guy if that's the case. And then, so I just basically said no, and they came back, all right, we'll do it later. And then here we are.
Obviously, you guys are both OGs, legends, fan favorites of this game. I mean, I'm curious for your honest assessment when you look at Cowboy's recent performances. What do you see? Like, where do you feel like he is at this point?
He's done great. So he's – I understand 100% why someone would want to fight up a weight class, right? I don't think that he was, super – he wasn't the best size for welterweight, right? He's a big lightweight, but he's a smaller welterweight. So I understand that. And he fought so many killers, so he came up short in a lot of his last fights, but he fought killer after killer after killer, So of course, like those are all super hard fights. So it's like, I think that, you got to remember people for like their strengths and not their weaknesses sometimes, right? You don't remember like the bad performances. You got to remember the good performances, right? That's who you need to train for. We didn't train for the worst Cowboy. We trained for the best Cowboy.
I guess last thing from me, I'm just curious. Main event is obviously in the lightweight division. You're a veteran lightweight division. One of the most anticipated fights of the year. I'm just curious for your thoughts on Gaethje Oliveira and how you see it playing out.
I mean, I think it's one of those fights where, Justin Gaethje just does not care about himself at all. He would light himself on fire to try and burn the other person a little bit. Right, so I think that's kind of how it goes. But like he's gonna come out swinging. Right, but Charles Oliveira's got sick jiu-jitsu. He's got such great jiu-jitsu. He's so good. I think that if they close space and they get close to chest or anything like that, like Charles Oliveira is so good at wrapping those long arms and those long legs around you. It's gonna be a tough fight. It's gonna be exciting though. I'm super pumped. Like there's a lot of times like when there's fights and like I'm excited for it, but I'm not super excited for it. But this is one of those fights I'm super excited for.
I just have to tell you that's probably the best way I've ever heard anybody describe Justin Gaethje.
Tell me it's not true. Tell me it's not true, right? Well, I had a coach used to say that I used to like, there used to be pirates that would, they would basically light the hair on fire and they would jump overboard and like, jump on the other ship or whatever. Like, and he always explained that, that was kind of how I fought. But Justin Gaethje, that is him. That is him to a T.
Joe, to your left, right here.
Yes.
We all know Joe Lauzon, the fighter, but little do we know of Joe Lauzon, the commentator. So what's it like working for smaller promotions on the broadcasting booth?
It's great. So I do commentate for CES, their local show, mostly in Rhode Island, which is like 40 minutes from me. It's not bad. It's easy to talk about fights. It was hard for me, but like the professional aspect of it, of like trying to like, not talk over people, right? It's easier to get like two buddies, you kind of talk and like you kind of cut each other off a little bit, but it doesn't matter because, it's conversation. It's so different for me when it was like, trying to like actually have the play-by-play person kind of like tee it off and lead off to this and you get the sponsor reads in and all that sort of stuff. So like it was a little bit hard on that. Same way like for my gym, it was easy for me to teach good classes. It was hard to run the actual business. Like it took time. It took you got to figure it out. So, but I love doing commentating for CS. It's definitely something I enjoy doing. It's fun. You get a great seat in the house. You get to kind of explain what's going on. A lot of people don't really understand like what's going on when there's fighting. Right? It's like they see someone that's on top. They see someone that's punching, but they don't understand jiu-jitsu. They don't understand wrestling. They don't understand like all the nuances. So it's kind of fun to kind of enlighten people a little bit. Let them know what's going on.
Oh, what's it like working with Maddie Levine?
Maddie's awesome. I love Maddie. So, Maddie's a great kickboxer. It's fun to kind of get that because, like, I tend to talk more about the jiu-jitsu stuff. I let her talk about the kickboxing stuff a little bit more. Her husband, Ross, is a monster. He was teaching jiu-jitsu. He was teaching kickboxing classes at my gym. Just a monster, Ross Turbo Levine. So it's great. I'm super lucky with the team we have over there.
One back here to the left, Joe. Wanted to ask, with the new environment and the layoff, was the feeling during the process of the camp still the same as it had been?
Yeah, I mean, I've done so many camps. Like, it's just like, we sparred. So typically, for years and years, for so many camps, we would spar twice a week. We would spar like Tuesday and Saturday. But the last couple camps, we sparred less because they're just less getting hit in the head, which is nice. Less wear and tear. Like, you generally get hurt during sparring sessions when you're going hard. So we try to limit that a little bit more. And, you know, but it didn't, we just fell right back in. You know, like I remember like the first sparring session was probably like, not the hardest, but it was like, I hadn't sparred in like 2.5 years. Like, you know, if someone's getting for a fight, I'll jump in and help them, you know, but it's different when you're doing hard sparring for yourself. So it was a little bit of time, but it was great. Everything fell right back into place.
And after the layoff, is there a different level of excitement to get back in the cage?
No, not really. I mean, for me, it's like brushing my teeth. I don't get excited because I brush my teeth, right? I do it every single day. I've had so many fights in the UFC, so many professional fights. I've sparred so many rounds. You know, it's just about, you know, putting in the reps, getting it, you know, just executing well. That's all I care about. You know, like I'll be, you know, win or lose, I'll be so relieved when the fight's over on Saturday. Like it'll be like the best. You know, it's just kind of get that weight off my shoulders.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What's up, Joe, over here? You're tied for the third most post-fight bonuses in UFC history with Nate Diaz. Are you liking your chances of securing a bonus on a stat card like this, or are you just focused on securing the W?
I mean, I'm focused on getting the win, but there's a good chance Cowboy and I, someone's getting a bonus off the other. You know, maybe it's fight of the night, maybe it's a performance bonus, but we both have a lot of bonuses for good reason. Like we try to murder each other. So very, very good chance of a bonus for this fight.
And you recently said that the establishment of a UFC fighter union is highly unlikely due to the selfish mindset of some of the promotion's top fighters. What type of things would need to change in order to create a fighters union, or do you believe any one fighter should lead the charge?
I think it would be hard. It's kind of a big, like, loaded question. There's a much, much longer answer. But I really think that the big thing is that, you know, anyone that would have the ability to kind of, you know, fight and push for any kind of fighters union, it cares about themselves. They're always going to take the mentality, like, I have done X, Y, and Z. I am a world champion. I am this. You know, if you want to go and get, like, the top 5 in every single division and get all of those guys to all be on the exact same page, then maybe you got a shot at a fighters union. But I think it's not going to happen because you're always going to have the guy that's the champ or the guy that's number 1 and think he's going to be a champ. He's always going to push to get what's best for him. And I understand it. I mean, like, if it came down to, you know, you getting, like, paid triple or everyone else in this room getting 5% more, you're going to push for yourself to get triple, right? It's just, that's just the nature of things. Like, it's, you know, and the UFC brand is so strong. It's like people care about watching fights because the UFC brand is so strong. They do such a great job with marketing and media and all sorts of stuff. Like you guys are all a big part of that. You know, so it's like the people that get excited for fights, they get excited because the UFC has invested a lot of money to kind of, you know, let you know about all these guys and put these highlights together and do all the, you know, give you all this footage and give you these free fights on YouTube and stuff like that. Like that's why people get excited. You know what I mean? If the UFC did not do all of that, then people would not be as excited because you wouldn't have these superstars.
You spoke of nuances, right?
Yep.
Like those are the things that you like, that you enjoy.
Yep.
When you get two guys like you and Cowboy, you know, I look at a position like, I want to see this fight go to the ground.
Yep.
Right? And I want this whole fight to take place on the ground.
Yep.
Because of those nuances. Do you think that you have the advantage in that situation?
I think that we're both competent on the feet and on the ground, right? But I think that he has an edge on the feet, and I think that I have the edge on the ground. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to try to – I would love the fight to be on the ground. Yes. Cool. Thank you, guys.